Hey VC, this is Brad from H2Vinyl. This is going to be a non-traditional video for me. I had a few in the VC asking me the question about this corner label right here. I'm going to make a quick video on all the information that I put on this. The reason why I started doing this was early in my collection, as I bought 3 bulk buys in less than 6 months, I found that I was not going to remember the quality or any of the information about my collection. And so just to show that this is not on the actual cover, this is on a plastic outer sleeve. So this basically is all they are, excuse me, Bato. Oh, Bato. Bato is sitting right next to me and not anymore. Hey, you want to say hi? He loves you guys. He loves you. So this is Avery labels. This is, you buy a 1,000 pack of these for, I don't have a price on this, do I? Probably got this on Amazon for about 20 bucks. These are the 2 by 2 inch by 4 inch labels, and they are the 5163. If you want to get these for yourself someday. But instead of zooming in on one of these labels and kind of showing you everything, I thought best to go to the computer that I print them on, and then I'll talk about some of the rest of my grading process that I use. Hope you find it interesting, and yeah, and maybe it'll be helpful. So here is the shot from my computer. All right, so we are at the iMac that is in the background of some of my shots of my videos. This is a 2008 24-inch iMac. It's getting up there in age. It doesn't do things as fast as a lot of other computers, but for this, it meets my need. And when it doesn't, then that's when I'll upgrade. But there are 3 programs that I use on this computer, and that is Word, Safari, and then Vinyl Studio. So I'm going to bring those up here. I already have them open. I use Safari just because it taxes Macintoshes. It taxes the RAM and the processor less. And so this computer just needs all the help that it can get. So here is Vinyl Studio. One of the ways that I kind of grade, I use Vinyl Studio to kind of help me grade my vinyl. And I'll get into that a little bit later. But what I do is I record every single record I grade into here and make it one WAV file. And basically, here's the centerpiece of where I flip the record. I try and do that as quickly as I can. And so yeah. Let's get into the Word document. I think I downloaded this from Avery.com. It's just the template. What was it? 5163. If you aren't able to find it for free there, I did this so long ago. 2 or 3 years ago. It was just really nothing. If you don't find it for free on Avery's website, you could probably just Google it. But I definitely do not work on it. I mean, this is size 5 font, so I definitely don't work on it like this. I'm gonna zoom in. Actually, 300. That's a good number for us. And so the last album I worked on this a few days ago is Phil Collins' "No Jacket Required." And so I looked this up. As I'm playing the vinyl in the background, as I first look at the vinyl, kind of visually grade it, and then I listen to it and audibly grade it, the whole thing, and then I record it into Vinyl Studio to give me my final like digital grading. So while I'm listening to it, I'm looking up all the album. And some, like this album has several different versions, but the key for this were these two areas, which told me where the pressing was and everything like that. And yeah, you can find all of this information in the Dead Wax. This was really what gave it away here, and I'm not giving anyone any information on how to do this. I'm sure everyone knows how to do this already, so I'm just babbling. But anyway, let's go back onto the label here and see what I have over here. First of all, I have the artist and album, and with artist, I usually alphabetize by last name or first significant word, so I eliminate the. I don't know if I have a the here or not. I don't think I do. Yeah, I do. There we go. There's Vados Band, and I just put the at the end and catalog it with a B. Oops, there's Phil Collins. So then genre, pop, and if there's something else, I'm not shy to put it back, put it in there, and whatever one I want to place it in, I usually just bold that. So let's say this, but it was, oops, let's unbold that. So let's say it was electronic as well. I would know to still put it in pop. Oh, check it out. It's electronic over there. I didn't even realize that. Awesome. I'm going to get rid of this stuff just so I know not to do that. But anyway, for style, I do separate my genre a little bit further and go synth pop as well. This is so when my collection gets large enough, I would like to separate it out in these different, more detailed categories. I have the release date of when the album was actually released, and then pressing copy if it's original. I'm not sure what my computer's working on. There we go. Like I said, it's old. Pressing copy if it's original, if it's a reissue, remastering, and then usually, so if this was a reissue, I would say something along the line of, this is the 1997 MoFi pressing, limited to 3,000 or something like that. Behind it, and then of course this would say a repress or reissue after that, just to give myself a little bit more detail. And then the label, Atlantic, all's right here, and then RPM 33, 45. I can't tell you how many times I put a record on the platter and didn't realize it was 45, so this helps me out with that. And then vinyl type, it's an LP 12-inch. Approximate runtime, the whole album for this album is 47 minutes. Side 1 is 23, and side 2 is 24 minutes. Ticks per minute, this is where Vinyl Studio comes in. This is rated at 191 ticks per minute. Well, what does that mean? So we'll go back into Vinyl Studio, and here is the button that kind of analyzes and corrects a lot of the clicks, the imperfections that are found in vinyl. And so if you click that, you can adjust the sensitivity. You can turn it off. I don't know why you would do that, but usually if I were to max this out, I don't think this is max. I think this just makes it go faster. But so actually this says it's max, but I'm not really sure why there's one more. Maybe it is all about just getting to 11. Great Spinal Tap, I love it. I usually find if I went to max or 6, that the difference from the imperfections of a poor record and a near mint or a mint record you really didn't see a difference in the number of imperfections it found. And so I've used this with quite possibly 1,500 records, and I'm not exaggerating. And I found that the setting 3 is best for what I do. And then I make sure that the percussion protection is turned up all the way, and all the rest of the protection is up. I only do one pass, and that's fine. And then we do scan. And this takes, about 20 seconds or so. I wish I had something witty to say. Oh yeah, I could talk about this. Here we go. This is the scale that once I get this number, and as you can see, it's counting the number of clicks here. Once I get that number, I divide it by the number of minutes, which is 47.1 minutes long. And then I take that number and I put it to the scale, and you'd look at this and say, wow, a mint record can have 100 ticks per minute? That's insane. Yeah, I know. It is kind of crazy. But like I said, the albums that I discovered as near mint or mint, I just opened them. The sound quality was phenomenal. For some reason, they would rate at 60, 70, 80 ticks per minute. And it's just something that I couldn't audibly hear, but the computer read it as a tick, and it's a computer. Anyway, it does what it wants to do. So as you can see, I only count the repaired number. So 9887 is the number here. So we're gonna 8987 divided by 47.1, and that's where we get the 190.8. I round that up to 191. So that's the number I get there, 191. So that would place it in near mint, the near mint category. But like I said, I also, this is kind of a third step in my grading process. This is kind of verifies what I've done visually and audibly. And so in the conditions note, I rated it very good, very good, very good all around. But in the conditions note for the vinyl, a few hairline scratches that does not affect playback, a slight or light crackle heard in quiet sections. So because of that, the few hairline scratches, I could tell that this person took care of it, but yet at the same time, it wasn't handled as delicately as maybe a mint or a near mint should have been. So that's why I went with very good. And also the light crackle heard in quiet sections, to me, that's very good plus. So very good plus all around. And then the cover conditions, I always have the cover light wear on all edges, light ring wear front and back. Stylus approved. That is just something for me. It's my hope one day to have a really high-end, really nice system. And as I'm building this system, I would like to know, hey, what would so I have like low end, high end, medium end, ultra end, whatever scale I have. I just want to be able to say on this high end system, yes, I can play that record. Estimated value. This I guessed on because I usually go in and there was no look at sold vinyl or whatever, and there's also no prices here for this. So I kind of guessed, what would I think that this album is worth? Normally I go by Discog prices, but I said, I'd pay $15 for this. Favorite tracks, and I'm thinking about changing this a little. These are the, the favorite tracks, and the ones that are bolded are the ones that, oh yeah, I could pull out the record anytime and really listen to these. The rest of them, they're not so much as favorites, but I still like them. How I'm going to possibly change this up is where it says loudest track. I really do like using the S1, T1, side 1, track 1, and then in parentheses the song title, so that I don't have to look at, so if I were to do this, and this is going to mess it all up, but that's okay. So if I were to do this, now I don't have to look, what song, what track is the Sussudio? Oh, that's, I automatically know it's S1, T1. So I'm going to change that back here real quick. So we covered the loudest track, verdict, and what I'll do with it. And so I have 4 different and then sell. So these are the 4 that I usually put in this spot. So keep, that's pretty obvious. I want to keep this in my collection. Placeholder, I have this to hold the place till I find another copy, a better copy. And then fence, I don't know if I really like this or not. I'll listen to it again and maybe change this in the future. And then sell is also obvious. I'm going to sell this. And usually if they're poor records or even fair records, maybe even good records, I trash them. I was told by someone else in the vinyl community that they felt that they did a service as they trashed, just junk records. And I like that philosophy. It kind of got my heart pounding at first, like, oh, what? But really, we're here to listen to good vinyl and to appreciate the sound for what it is. And if it's in such bad shape, very few can, enjoy that. Purchase info, this is where I usually have the where I got it, how much I paid for it, when I got it. And so I don't remember where I got this. And so let's take a look at another one. Like Vinyl Me Please, this was record of the month. This was the St. Vincent. And I received it in the mail at this time. So that's one example. And then more info, miscellaneous info. This is where I put just personal things about this album of, hey, this reminds me of my friend Rob, who he and I used to walk to school listening to this album. We really didn't. We more listened to Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince or something like that. But maybe a little bit of Run DMC. But then also I have the mastering and any of the pressing information I usually have in this area as well. And then the barcode, I thought it would be cool to be able to scan that barcode and maybe have it put in information in a database or anything, or something quick to find. This is just a barcode font. How it works is as you type a number. So, oops, that's too many numbers. But as you type a number, it then puts the number of lines to that. I don't remember what this was. What was this? This was 756, I think. I started out by doing a random number generator to depict what I think I did like 600 or 700 albums this way. And so I made this long string of like 12, 13, 14 numbers. And then I was going to like this website to do these random numbers. And I'm like, why am I doing this? Why can't I just count up from 0? And so I just put 00001. And that's how I started. And so since I started doing that, which was mid 2016, I've done 756 albums. I've graded them. So anyway, this is the label. I want to also show you another thing. This system is really good for rock. It's really good for jazz, classical, and Classical, it's good for classical, except for classical when it gets really soft. It picks up a lot, I mean a lot of imperfections in quiet music. And so just realize that it's going to count that, it's going to count it as a poorer conditioned record. But one area where Vinyl Studio, this TPM system that I have, does not do well with, and that's with electronic, industrial, and EDM. And I'll show you an example here of what, this is 9 Inch Nails that when did I get this? I got this the 3rd of November. There we go. So looking at this record, we're going to pull this up. I've already recorded it and did all of the, let me find it here. This is unrehearsed. I just know this will probably take, here it goes, the Fragile. This will probably take a while, so let me clear out the corrections. And we'll get this started here. All those, that's right. And so as it's counting, let's start looking at this. So down here, I place not just the remastering and pressed at Palace USA. I also have down here the total number of ticks. Now this isn't TPM. Oh gosh, if that was TPM, the ticks per minute, I would just go crazy. But this is the full album, so approximately, I'm not sure why I have the approximately there. It's actually that. The nice thing about the software is, as long as you don't change any of the settings and you use the same recording, you will get the same number every time. And so this is the number, and if you were to take that number, let's clear this out, 45460, and divide that by, I'm going to use this number here, so that's 116.4, so divided by 116.4, boom, that's 391. So if we were to go to here, 391 is very good. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. This is Palace. And this was a sealed record. Like, I know it was new. It looks fabulous. What's the deal? And I'm like, oh, wait a minute. It's industrial. So my software doesn't really go really well with that. So what I did was I took the CDs, and there's 2 CDs, and so took that number off I basically used iTunes and ripped it as a WAV file, put it into Vinyl Studio, and then took the second one and basically did the exact same thing that I'm doing with the vinyl, and it counted on the first CD 17,079 ticks for that CD, and then the second one 18,242. And these are just false positives due to the music. And I'm sure there's false positives in every circumstance, but with EDM, industrial, electronic, these are the false positives that matter. I mean, that is a majority of that, when you add both of these together. And so the vinyl afterwards, and as you can see, the number is 45,460. After subtracting these, that's 10,139. And for a almost 2-hour record, that's really good. So let's take that number and divide that by 116.4. Boom, 87. And that's why I have the 87 there. Oh, I just realized I had a human error here. I didn't write down the time for the first side, and so I just wrote all of the time down for the second side. I've got to fix that later. But so that gave me the opportunity to mark these all down as near mint, since I was also able to say perfect condition, played only a few times. and then light to light crackle heard between quiet sections. So yeah, there. This is my labeling and grading system. I do want to stress that I use the same stylus for every record, and I specifically went with a stylus that I know is going to be available. I didn't go with a new old stock or anything. Trying to let me see if I can find the stylus I bought. Oh man, don't see it. Anyway, it's a. I know it's an Ortophone. It's one of those gray Ortophones. I think it's like Omega or something like that. Let's see if I can find it. No, I can't find it. Oh well. I'm pretty sure it is the Omega, the Ortophone Omega, which is a $20 or $30 cartridge. I really didn't want to wreck a really expensive cartridge on this, just because the fact that I'm playing records that people have not been kind to, and so why waste your money on records like that? So I just, when this $30 cartridge wears out, I pop off the stylus and I replace it with $15, $20 instead of $100 or whatever it might be, like a red or a blue or anything like that. So definitely use the same cartridge. Yeah. So this is what I use to label and grade my vinyl. And remember, basically, if I would be in a world of hurt if I didn't have this system for myself. I would know absolutely nothing about the things in my collection. And it's really nice to just be able to look at one spot and just say, there's all the information I need to know. And if, in the future that needs to change, then I will change it. But yeah, if you do have any questions or if you have suggestions, please leave them in the comment. I hope this was helpful. If you want to, run this system at home for your own collection, I'm happy to help in any way. And also said, if you have any suggestions, I always want to improve this system, and I would take those suggestions into account. So yeah, again, hope this was helpful, and hope you're all doing well, and we will talk to you next time.